Injustice 2 is a fighting video game made by NetherRealm Studios, and is set inside the DC Comics universe, and it is arguably part of the best comic book adapted video game series that there is. And in terms of the fighting game genre itself, I would say that Injustice 2 is the best fighting video game there is in the world, at least in my opinion. One of the features of Injustice 2 is the super moves that every playable character has. By storing up power from hits, the character can unleash a super move. In Mortal Kombat they have these as well, and they are mainly designed for gore. But in the Injustice video games, these super moves are not for gore, they are instead a quick scene that is itself a little insight into the character's life and world in both DC Comics and other media. And this video will be counting down the 5 best super moves in the Injustice 2 video game. The super moves will be graded on how they relate to the character's powers and their comic book history, and most importantly on how entertaining they are. Number 5. Black Adam. In Black Adam's origin, he was actually alive 5,000 years ago, then was magically put to sleep in a prison, and he was freed in the modern age 5,000 years later. And this super move pays homage to that by having the ancient sands and the pyramids. The destruction of the pyramid also seems to symbolise that Black Adam can never return to the time period where he belongs, as that time is gone, just as these pyramids are destroyed. And the reason that he was banished in the first place is because he abused his powers and hurt people, and the irony is that doing things like destroying a pyramid is exactly the reason he was locked away. 5,000 years and he still hasn't learned his lesson. It's also nice to see his Shazam lightning strike given the justice it deserves. In the first Injustice video game it wasn't nearly as impressive. Shazam! So this is definitely one of the best upgrades of a character's super move in the Injustice 2 game, as the Shazam lightning is one of the most powerful attacks in the DC universe and it deserves to be recognised. Though Black Adam may have only gotten this upgrade because he is getting his own movie with The Rock starring as Black Adam. Number 4. Atrocitus. Atrocitus is rage incarnate. His ring is fueled by hatred, and him beating you to death while quoting his ring's oath is a dramatic way of showing this. And it is just beautiful to watch.
Together with our hellish hate, we'll burn you all! That is your fate!
For those who don't know, the lantern rings, including the one that Atrocitus is wearing, have to be charged, and in order to charge them up, a lantern must quote the oath of his core, and that is what Atrocitus is quoting. The full Red Lantern Corps oath is,
"With blood and rage of crimson red, we fill men's souls with darkest dread, and twist your minds to pain and hate. We'll burn you all. That is your fate."
The point of the oath is to basically be a password that each lantern can use to access the core and download the power into his ring. This oath was originally written by Atrocitus, and it's good to see that he's prepared to put his money where his mouth is. And the red ball that attacks is the avatar of the Red Lantern of Rage. Each of the lantern cores is powered by a different emotion, and each has a lantern entity, a being which is the pure form of the emotion of each of the lantern cores. Meaning this bull is made entirely out of rage, and only Atrocitus has ever been able to control it. So having him summon it to do his bidding is a great reference to the comics and to his powers, and really gets across that this guy is the master of rage. Number 3. The Flash. The Flash is all about speed, and this super move respects that. In the first video game, he ran around the world to build momentum to attack his opponent, which seems to be a great reference not only to how fast he is, but it's a little link to his around the world races that he constantly has with Superman. But in the next video game, Injustice 2, they had to one-up this and make him faster, so they have the Flash run so fast that he runs through time to several different time periods. This is a great reference to his time travelling abilities, and possibly a subtle tip of the hat to the Flashpoint story, in which the Flash changes history, which is arguably the Flash's most famous story, and one that also created the New 52 universe, and is actually the comic that's being adapted for the live-action movie of the Flash with Ezra Miller. The Flash running circles around his opponent is great as well. The move is just meant to disorientate the opponent, I know, but it must also be referencing the expression, "he's running circles around you," which the Flash can literally do in less than a second with his speed. Though the actual idea of this super speed move is apparently to siphon oxygen from the middle of the tornado they create, and thus weaken the opponent, as shown in Young Justice.
Trying to suck away my oxygen? I hardly touch the stuff.
And having the Flash run forward in time to the present, but a few seconds before he left, so that he can slam his opponent into their own past body, is a nice touch. It's a paradox and makes no real sense since this isn't how it happened the first time round, but time travel never really makes any sense anyway, and it looks so good we can easily forgive it. Number 2, Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn's super move is surprisingly good considering her first super move in Injustice Gods Among Us was kind of terrible. It was just her using an exploding cake, not exactly the stuff of legends. So it's amazing to see how a character's super move in the first game was one of the worst, and her super move in the next game is one of the best. This was possibly due to the fact that Harley Quinn's popularity has skyrocketed in recent years. The hyenas were of course her pets on the TV show Batman the Animated Series, and as most of you probably know, the Harley Quinn character was not created in the comics, but on the TV series Batman the Animated Series. So her super move relates to how she is in the show, as it is her true source material. And it captures her spirit as well, her pet hyenas, her love for them, and switching the camera to a first-person perspective, especially with the hyena's saliva on the camera lens, is a work of genius. It looks awesome, and it puts the player in the character's position so well, because what would you do if 2 hyenas attacked you? Well, most likely you'd fall over and flail widely like the character does, so it really immerses the player in the moment. And she then uses the baseball bat from the Suicide Squad film. This version of her character has gotten so popular that it's become iconic for cosplayers. And it's a genius idea to finish the super move with the bat, as it's the latest thing at the moment to be added to the Harley Quinn mythos. And in the games, Harley Quinn's look is more like the Suicide Squad films, but the old costume from the Batman TV series is available to wear in the game as a different skin. Though personally I actually prefer the new look from the Suicide Squad films to her old look anyway, as I like to see my characters change over time, and this is her more modern look. Number 1, the Joker. The Joker's super move is simply perfect. It features the crowbar, the one that was used to beat the second Robin Jason Todd in the comics and in the movie Batman Under the Red Hood. And this is a reference to one of the worst things the Joker has done, if not the worst thing that the Joker has done, to hurt Batman. The Joker also ties you into an electric chair, which mirrors how he deserves the death penalty, but always escapes it due to the insanity clause. For those who don't know, the American government does not execute people who are crazy, as they are not aware of what they're doing, and instead of death, they deserve help, hence why the Joker is always put in Arkham Asylum, even though it doesn't really work out. And because of this, he can do whatever he wants to you, as the law doesn't really apply to him. No matter what he does, he'll end up in Arkham Asylum, so he just goes along for the ride, doing whatever he feels like. The Joker then finishes by blowing the player up, which is of course mirroring how he blew up Jason Todd and killed him. And it also of course represents his own insane love for explosives and violence. And the best thing about this super move is that it's just so entertaining and looks so good, which is without a doubt the most important quality. The only problem with Joker's super move that I can see is that there's no way NetherRealm can top it for Injustice 3. But I do look forward to seeing them try. And that is the 5 best super moves in Injustice 2. Do you agree with this list, or do you think that they should be in a different order, or that other super moves deserve to be on this list instead? Be sure to let us know in the comments, along with what your personal favourite super move is. And I'd just like to say a quick thank you to those who made this video possible by donating to the Needle Mass Productions page on Patreon. Patreon is a crowdfunding site that is helping us to bring you more videos each week and to raise funds for adapting comic book stories into short animated films. If you're interested in donating or just want to find out more, a link is in this video's description. And as always, thanks for watching and feel free to subscribe, share, like and comment.